Here's why I'm not into buying down your interest rate. I know it sounds good for you to have a lower payment, but sometimes that can cost you in the long run. So it's important for you to understand where that money is going and what that looks like in the long run and the short term for you. Buying down your rate, which also means paying points, actually will reduce the interest rate that you're paying. So let's say you're buying a house for $250,000. If you are buying that house for $250,000, 1 point is equal to 1% of the purchase price of that home. So that is $2,500. So at $2,500, that takes the interest rate down by 1/4 point, so 0.25%. If the starting interest rate, we'll say, is 7.25%, and you are buying a house for $250,000 and you pay $2,500 up front, then your new interest rate is 7%. The payment difference between a 7% and a 7.25% is about $43. So you're saving $43, but you paid $2,500 up front. Sometimes it just doesn't necessarily make sense to go about moving forward with that when you can wait for the interest rates to come down and then refinance the property into a lower interest rate if it makes sense. So here's 3 reasons I wouldn't buy down the interest rate. So reason number 1, you may not stay in the property long enough. So if you're not planning on staying in that property long term, then it is important for you to understand what the break-even point is. So for that $43 that's going in to pay that 1/4% down, then at that point, it's going to take around 76 months or 6 years for the $2,500 to equal that $46. So that math is not mathing in a way that's going to make sense for you to actually have paid the $2,500 up front. Now, the second reason is if you need money for something else, it is so important for you to have an emergency fund as a homeowner. So I personally like to keep 2 months of mortgages saved at all times to ensure that there are no problems. So having that backlogged mortgage and that backlogged savings actually makes more sense. So if you're buying a property for $250,000 and we'll say your payment is $1,800 a month, then it's more important for you to have the $2,500 that you would have put forward. It's more important for you to have that saved in an account over buying down an interest rate. Now, the third and final reason that you would not want to buy down the interest rate would be if the interest rates come down on their own. So the interest rates, they are constantly fluctuating. If you are locked into a mortgage at a 7 or 7.5% interest rate, then eventually the tides will turn and those interest rates will come down. As they're coming down, you want to just consistently keep an eye out, and you also want to be mortgage ready at all times. So what this means is don't do anything that's going to demolish your credit. Don't do anything that could potentially put you at risk financially anytime you're a homeowner. You want to live below your means so that you can always be in a good state. But the biggest thing is if the interest rates come down naturally, then that gives you the opportunity to just be able to refinance into a lower interest rate without paying any money up front. So having a really clear understanding of how interest rates work make it where I'm still not convinced that I would buy down an interest rate. Now, if there's an introductory interest rate that is lower, that's coming from a builder, 100% take advantage of that opportunity because that's not something that you would see very often. But be very careful to know what you're walking into whenever you're buying down interest rates, because a lot of the time, if you are not staying in that property long enough for it to make sense, it literally does not make sense. And it's the same thing whenever it comes down to having a seller buy down the interest rate. Let's say you buy a property at a higher interest rate and then the rates come down. Now the money that the seller has has contributed to the purchase of your property, you could have used that towards your closing costs or many of the other things that can happen in the house. So it's very important for your real estate agent and your lender to work simultaneously together to ensure the best for you. But my name is Lauren DiMartino. I'm a real estate agent right here in Baltimore, Maryland, and I cannot wait to help you with any of your real estate needs. And if you are out of the state, I can help you with that too, because we have so many referral partners all over the world. Even if you are in, I'd say like Liberia somewhere, then, or Brazil, we can still help you. And I'm so excited to go over even more information to help. See you later. Bye.